Hey, hi everybody. It's good to be with you today. We're in Deuteronomy chapter 30 now, and we come across an intriguing choice that God gives to the people, and this is the test of the choice. I want to talk about this incredible choice. God has always given man a free will, and he will never violate your free will. Very, very, very seldom do we ever find God making somebody do something he didn't necessarily want to do. Sometimes he orchestrated circumstances in order for that to happen, like with Jonah. We understand that. But God has given to every one of us the freedom of choice, the freedom of personal will. And God has forever, since the beginning of time, given us a choice between different options. In the Garden of Eden, he gave the choice to Adam and Eve to obey him with regard to the tree in the middle of the garden, and they chose not to obey him. See, they thought that maybe God was hiding something from them, and so they thought, well, let's check it out and let's make sure, and they failed the test of choice. We see Abraham later passing the test of choice when he offered his son up as a sacrifice. He didn't go through with it, but he passed the test of choice. God is always offering to us choices. Even Jesus in the New Testament said there's a high road and there's a low road, there's a broad gate and there's a narrow gate. You've got to choose which one you want to go through. God gives to us choices. Now in Deuteronomy chapter 30, there is an enormous choice that he lays before us. And I want to read to you from Deuteronomy chapter 30. And it's just the most amazing passage, because it speaks to us about the fact that we have an enormous role to play in with regard to our spiritual lives. And it's epitomized in this amazing thing. God says in verse 19 of chapter 13, "This day I call heaven and earth as a witness against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live, and that you may love the Lord your God. Listen to his voice and hold fast to him, for the Lord is your life." You know, I was just going to do a one-off hit on this thing, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that each one of those aspects need to be spoken into. So forgive me, but for the next couple of days, I'm going to be looking at all these different aspects of what this choice is all about. It says in that verse 19 to 20, it says that he gives to us a choice between life and death and blessing and curses. God says that's the choice that he puts before everyone. His recommendation, however, obviously, is that you would choose life. And there's a couple of reasons that you should choose life. The first reason is that your kids may live well. You say, how are my kids going to live well if I make the right choice? Well, we all know that the choices we make us, but they also influence the choices of the people close to us. No one closer than your family and your kids. And when they see you making good choices, something subconsciously gets into their minds to think, hey, my dad, my mom made a great choice. Look at their lives. And even though they're not perfect people, that's the right choice to make. And you leave a great legacy behind. The second thing is that you may love God. You make the right choice so that you can now love God if you choose to follow him. And then there's certain benefits. You'll know that you're loving God when you listen to his voice, according to the passage. When you hold fast to him, for the Lord is your life. I got to tell you, people, I know that this was written thousands of years ago to a group of people who we would look at and say, well, how much in common do we have with them? We have a stack in common with the children of Israel. And the same choice comes to us today. Want to choose life? Then choose life. If you want to choose death, that's your choice. And God, although you may break his heart by making the wrong choice, as a parent watching his or her kids making the wrong choice, their hearts break, do they not? And yet God looks at us with tears in his eyes and said, for goodness sake, make the right choice. Choose life over death. Choose blessing over curses. And watch what you leave behind. You leave a great legacy behind. Don't you want to do that? Don't you want your kids to remember you? I went to a funeral this last week of my friend Leo Leidecker, and what a beautiful human being he was. And it was such a privilege in this group of friends there to hear them talk about this man No one had an ugly word to say about him. He made consistently good choices. He chose to love his wife. He chose to love his kids and sacrificially give to them. He chose to love his church, as imperfect as the church was. He chose to love the church. He chose to love God above everything. He chose to love God's word above all else. He chose to love God. And his life, as that last verse says, that this was his life. As I left that funeral that day, I thought, man, what a way to go. What a legacy to be said about this wonderful man, that this was his life. All because he made the right choice. So today, as we begin this mini-series here, I'm going to invite you to talk to God about this choice thing. Make sure that you choose life over death, blessing over curses, so that all the beauty of what comes in the following verses becomes your experience. Read it. Go and read Deuteronomy chapter 30. Read it a couple of times. I'll let it speak to your heart as it has to mine. Have a fantastic day, people. Bye.